Yeah. YMG. SDIM. Yeah, cook off.
Yo, what's up, man? This is the Nah and Big Will Show. Let's go. This is episode 11 right here. If you're following the podcast at this time, you'll see that we're putting out episodes randomly. We're not putting them out in order. The reason why is because we're just trying to pretty much get the rough drafts out, get a little bit of traction, get some opinions from the people who do watch the show. We're not putting it out basically publicly. We're putting some episodes out publicly, but mostly we're just for our friends and people that that we know, just to get some feedback, get some opinions, get some traction. Once everything, we get all the kinks and everything worked out, we will start having the shows in order, and you will be able to see that once we get that situated. Today's topic is a topic that was actually an opinion or an actual input from a friend of ours who actually gave us some advice on what could be a very hot topic. I thought that was great idea. Sean Suddington, friend of ours. Yeah, he actually gave us a good idea as far as a hot topic is concerned, and I think a lot of people can empathize, opinionate, and definitely understand this topic. The topic is the homeless situation in America. This is a topic that is definitely impacting this country from a lot of different angles. Jay, you want to start with that?
Homelessness. It's a broad topic, man. Where to begin? First off, I think it's a problem I think it's done purposely here in the United States. Outside of the United States, I think it's a product of that environment. But here in the United States, for whatever reason, I think it's done purposely because, for all the money that we allot, send other places, spend on different things here that might not be that high on the priority list, with all these tax-paying dollars, you could have state-of-the-art, nice facilities for these homeless people to go to if you really wanted to. But for whatever reason, the powers that be, they don't really want to clean up the problem. And I look at both sides of the coin, and you can only help somebody that wants to help themselves. So even if you had these great facilities for them to go to, some of these people will say, man, I'd rather stay on the street so I can do my drugs. Because of course, if you have these facilities, you're going to have a policy of, no drug use, what have you, or it would turn into a fucking
different stipulation,
hellish kind of situation. Yeah. But, yeah, man, the powers that be don't want to clean this up. And, I'm a fan of many different podcasts. And on one of the other podcasts, I heard, some guys talking about this issue. And, just for the state of California in particular, they're allotted money from the federal government to take care of this problem. But what I found out is, a lot of that money doesn't make it to where it needs to go. A lot of that money is going into the pockets of, politicians, lobbyists, what have you, and they're not spending the money to actually fix the problem. So, they might do a little bit, they might do a little something, but a lot of that, the bulk of it is not, going to what it's supposed to go towards. So, yeah, man, for whatever reason, it doesn't want to be fixed here.
Gotcha.
I don't know why, but
I think that has a lot to do with a lot of different elements when it comes down to why this is such a big problem. One thing I would say, again, I can pretty much put everything on education, informing. A lot of people don't even know how to actually live and live in their own place. These people have been homeless for years. Sometimes you go down the streets of DC, you might see a guy he's probably been homeless the last 30 years. And he probably don't even want to stay in a four corner room, or things like that. It's very psychological. You deal with a lot of people, like you said, with mental health drug addiction, things of that nature. I think that a lot of these nonprofit organizations and the government itself doesn't put a lot of emphasis, or I don't see any true improvement when it comes to this homeless situation. It's almost like something that just continues to happen. Actually, more and more people are becoming homeless because of the economic situation, inflation, not being able to, even if they have a job, they're not even able to afford a home. There's so many different scenarios and rabbit holes we can go down as to why this is such a crisis. But I will, again, from my opinion, I would say that it's basically more of a educational and, like you said, more of a greed situation. The money is not getting allotted correctly. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of policies that are pretty much held as to where it's fine to be homeless in America. Yeah, it's almost normal.
But let me take it a step further. Like I said, in the 40s, the 50s, and 60s, there used to be, as they used to call them, the big house. There used to be mental institutions where if you was out on the street acting crazy, it would be two men that pull up in a van and you wouldn't see that guy no more. And he would be in a mental institution. And granted, they shut him down due to, some of the foulness that was going on in some of these facilities, but as negative as it sounds, I think we need to bring those kind of places back, just with a lot more, rules and regulations and oversight over them. Because a lot of these people that's homeless, they have mental issues. And then I'll take it a step further. A lot of these people that are homeless, they're homeless because of decisions that they made in their life. They burnt every bridge to the point that now they have to be homeless. So, it has to be some sort of accountability there. So to say we build that state-of-the-art nice facility for them to go to, some people are going to say, yeah, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being on these drugs. I'll do whatever I got to do, to get off of these streets. And yeah, they'll make the choices and do whatever they have to do to get off and get into that facility. But then you go have some that's like, man, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I'll just, I'll make it happen. Sleep in this tent. Just like in Washington, D.C., I ride through it all day. It's homeless all throughout the town. It's homeless right across the street from these government buildings. It's homeless right across the street from these politicians' windows that they could look out and see a homeless guy in a tent. So clearly they don't want to fix the problem, and it's not all on them. That's why I'm trying to bring two sides to it, because some of these people out here, they did something to, for lack of better words, deserve it. Whether it was, get on drugs, start stealing from your family, do this, do that, your friends, and to the point that you burnt every bridge and now you're out there. So, what do you say to that person? I still got this free place for you to come live and do your thing. It's like it's a double-edged sword, man. But I do think overall we could do, at least come up with better plans and actually implement them to give the ones that want help, that want to get off those streets, to give them an honest chance. Everybody deserves a second chance, Right.
I agree 100% with that. One thing I was about to say, we was talking a little bit behind the scenes. I think that this is a good time for people to really, because it's such a information-based era that we live in, and it's so easy to reach people, that we need to put these type of policies in play as to where people are able to become more positive, more actually built towards becoming homeowners. Everybody wants to be
a
homeowner, but the other class who has homes wants to rent it out, or they want to make a profit, which is fine because that's going to always be there. But the overall economic health of America would be a lot better if you had homeowners who actually follow their mortgages, who actually use their homes as a financial benefit instead of a financial debt. There's a lot of things that we can do to educate people on this situation, because I think that we're just what you like to say, the haves and the have-nots.
Right.
And when it comes to homelessness, it's definitely the haves and the have-nots.
Right. And that's done purposely too. It's a reason why in 1985 and 1990, you know, a guy with the honest job making say $45,000 to $60,000 a year could not only afford a home but could afford to take care of his family. Now that number is up itself to the point that $45,000, $60,000, you probably, I mean, you technically can, but it's going to be tough for you, you know, and that was done purposely. You know, you talk about inflation, what have you. It's harder to own a home, and if they wanted to make it easier to do so, they would. So let me ask you this. So you think you're saying it's purposely done? Like the powers that be, they tell us all this stuff about Biden and everybody passing these legislations and laws to make it easier for homeless people, but I don't ever see it. I don't ever see any type of regulations put in play where they make it a lot more. A perfect example is this: people that's on Section 8, and this is the actual program I'm working with right now with someone. They're trying to pass a law as to where people with Section 8 have the ability to become homeowners. Great idea.
Now, with that being said, and I'm actually working with a nonprofit and with some people now about that. It's so much red tape. It's so much regulations. It's so much research and things that you have to do to even qualify a lot of these people. But I think that should be a lot more easier because it benefits everybody. Why do you want these people on the streets? Why do we want to see people suffering like that when we know we have the money to actually help these people, to help ourselves, to make this country better, especially economically, with having more homeowners? Everybody knows that. All these abandoned buildings in Baltimore, all these little row houses all over any type of inner city. I mean, these are properties that developers are trying to actually regentrify, because you wouldn't live down there 10 years ago when it was crack central. But now that nobody has nowhere to go, everybody's gone. They're either homeless or dead or in jail or whatever. Now you want to come back in there, develop it back up, sell it for 10 times the amount of money.
You want to tell me that's not purposely done?
That's what I'm saying. That's purposely done. But what we have to do, I think, as a society, is to make sure that can't be done, and to the point where people are suffering.
Now, you pointed out, like, for example, the Section 8 program, and you was talking along the lines of it's a lot of red tape. You know, you really have to do your research. All that means to me, all I hear from that is the people that are on Section 8 that are really serious about changing that and becoming a homeowner, they're going to go through that work. Not to say all the red tape is you know, it should be, but I think it needs to be kind of a stringent process, because other than that, you're going to have some of them people that's on Section 8 that are milking it, that could do something different. That's like, oh, you going to give me a home now? Yeah. All I got to do is sign that or write A, B, C. Yeah, I do that. So I think it needs to be somewhat of a stringent process, because those that really want to do it, they're going to take the time. They're going to go through that process, whether it takes a year, whether it takes 2 years, but they're going to do everything they have to do to make sure that them and their family that's there in that Section 8 now can finally move up and own a home, you know? So I think that comes to my next point. Like, it's hard to buy a home here in America, especially now, but homes shouldn't just be given out. We have an immigration problem, you know? Not only that, we have people here that were born on this soil that are just flat out fucking lazy, for lack of better words. So, you know, it doesn't need to be an easy process to get a home. Now, granted, should a home that was worth, you know, $250,000 in 1995, but it's now worth, you know,
$2 million.
You know, $2,700,000, whatever. That needs to be worked on. But once again, it's done purposely. But I don't think my point is, I don't think it needs to be super easy to own a home, because then that's not fair to those who have worked hard and got their credit right, saved the money they need to save for their down payment. It's not fair for them to look their next door neighbor, who was just a lazy fool, who had a whole bunch of kids or whatever, and now all of a sudden they can live next door to me for damn near free. Come on, man, that ain't right either. You gotta look at both sides, man.
That's controversial, I think, in a little bit, because now you're doing generalization. A lot of these people might not specifically be lazy.
I've lived in Section 8 communities, and I've seen people there that were good people,
right, exactly.
that for whatever reason they landed in that situation, but they still got up, went to worked as much as they could. They tried to be the best mother or father they could be. You know what I mean? But then I've seen those who say, "Oh, my rent only $30 a month. I'm gonna have the drug dealers at my house. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna just lay back and kick back. Baby daddy, you the baby father, and you don't even work a job because you can stay here for this $30 rent a month." I done seen that too. So that's what I'm saying. It don't need to be that easy, because those people are then going to take advantage. And that's not right to the people who really are out there wanting to work hard, wanting to do what they have to do to better themselves overall. So it doesn't need to be necessarily easy,
Yeah, I agree to an extent. I think, but it should be more accessible.
It is accessible, man.
It's not really that accessible. A lot of people don't even know, man. This is a program that if I don't tell somebody,
right,
they wouldn't even think
for the most part,
even existed.
Any government programs, they're not broadcasted.
Right.
You have to literally go out and research and look into them. Right. Like, it's money right now that's allotted for, poverty-stricken communities, for people to take that money and, whatever it may be, start youth centers, start this or start that, but we don't dive deep into that rabbit hole to try to find this. Now, whether that's, right or wrong, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. But there is money out there. And the way I see it is, nothing comes easy, man. So what if you got to do some research? So what if you have to spend a year filling out this, doing that, to make sure that you get your home? So what?
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not, actually, that's fine. That is going to be stipulations for anything. If you want something, and you truly want it, you're going to have to go out and get it, regardless of what it is. But one thing I would say about that is that I feel that people morally wise, if they know they're homeowners, they would take more care of their environment, more care of their neighborhood. They'll try to be more responsible about what's going on, because that is their actual home. They're paying not just to stay there and then move when the landlord gets tired of you if you can't pay your rent. That is your home. And if you want to lose your home, or you want the value of your property to go down, right, that's up to you. Yeah. But I think that if you at least give people that responsibility, that sense of home ownership, it actually can change their brain. And that's something that I would, as I'm in my business, that I would definitely like to emphasize, and what I'm trying to help a lot of people do, especially in the inner cities, where it is amazing how many people just don't own anything. And it's unbelievable, especially in the Black African American community. It's almost unbelievable how we don't own anything.
Yeah, but those of us who are educated on the benefits of actually owning versus renting, I think when we're speaking of our community in general, we need to do a better job. Those of us that have the knowledge of, what you may need to do as far as home ownership, as far as just owning anything in general, it's on us, and it's our responsibility to bring it back to those who don't know. Now, you could lead a horse to the water all day, and he might not drink, but you at least gotta, give them a chance to figure out this information, meaning those ones that know, bring it back, hold seminars, do what you have to do, but let them know that, hey, this opportunity awaits you on this side if you choose to do this. One of the problems I find with our community is, Black folks, the ones that get successful, and I'm not Not saying it's right or wrong. I don't know. Have to really think about it. But what I do see is we get our money and we say, shit, peace. You know, I'm not necessarily worried about what y'all doing over there in Hood 1, Hood 2, Hood 3. I'm over here in this white gated community, and I'm good to go.
And that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. We can go on that forever. Just to piggyback a little bit off of it, that is truly how America thinks. I mean, that's pretty much how it is. Again, going back to the have and the have-not stuff. The haves, the majority of them don't give a damn. Right,
because they got theirs, and it's like,
yeah, you get yours. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, boy. You know, all that stuff but they didn't do it. I mean, they had the abilities. If you think about how home ownership became, Martin Luther King had this great speech about how they distributed land in the United States.
Yep.
And that is, they put pretty much the minorities in what's called projects. That's why they call it a project.
Right.
It was a project where you're putting people on top of each other.
Right.
They're all struggling. They definitely don't own projects. They just happy to be there. They have no money. We're struggling to make it ends meet, and you're gonna have chaos. It's like you're actually putting chaos together. But then when you have these people who have all this plots of land and not even rich, they can be middle class, but they just have the ability to actually benefit off that home ownership, off that ability to have their own. And that's something that I think as African Americans, because I am African, I keep saying that, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but
I'm American, by the way. I'm just American. That's all.
I'm from Earth.
Yeah.
I'm from Earth. Anyway, I'm American, but anyway, I'm a human being from Earth more than anything. So, I just feel like that's something that could be, we can do something about it. If we really wanted to do something about it, we can do something about it. And I think it'd be financially beneficial as a country to do something about it. A lot of this poverty and homelessness stems into what the next subject is. Do you have anything else to say about that? Or
not really. If I want to come back to it, I will.
Okay, it kind of coincides with what we're going into. But the next subject was pretty much the violence of today's American society. Homelessness and desperation has a lot to do with, as far as I'm concerned, with the violence.
I do have a little more to say about the homeless problem, because check it out. Since we were talking about our African American community, I think that it's about time to stop making the excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop saying why it's so hard for you. Look, we have a computer. All of us have a computer in our hand right now. So that time allotted that a lot of us are spending on World Star Hip Hop, YouTube, whatever it is, watching, some ignorant shit, you can, at this point, go learn about how to bring yourself up and go after that 1,000,000%. I think a lot of the times we make, like one of my favorite quotes, you can either make excuses or you can make it happen. And I feel that now we can literally, to the ones that sit there and say, it's going to be too hard for me to own a home, or I'm stuck in this hood, blah, blah, blah. Man, I do one better. I listen to a lot of podcasts with guys that are in the armed service or retired, whether that be Army, Navy, Marine, what have you. And one thing I've heard from all is when you get there to boot camp, there are people from all over. There are people from that south side of Chicago that lived in Murderland. And then there are people from that suburban California, somewhere in the hills. But my point in that is, you can make the decision, man. You can make the decision to say, hey, I may live in this filth, but I'm going to do something to get myself out of it. So.
But I agree. I agree 100%. But I also think it should be a more even playing field now. What you said about the phone.
You have to want it. You have to want it, though. And like I said before in one of the early episodes, I was stuck in that delusion. I was stuck in that disillusion of, I live in this hood. I gotta do as the hood do. And it's easy to get stuck in that situation because I've been disillusioned just like that.
But that's what I'm saying, Jake. What I'm saying is that's what we have to focus on, the education. See, like you said about the phone, what I was about to say is that, their phone is for that entertainment. Their phone is for entertainment. Their phone is not to gather information or to learn or to connect or to advertise. Is for their entertainment. It's for consumers. It's a consuming situation as to where, and I keep going to this, that we are the biggest consumers in the world. We are the biggest consumers in the world.
Well,
and that makes no sense to me. And then
it's on us. It's on us to help us out. It ain't on no white Indian or whatever. It's on us as black men to help our other black men out. Period. Otherwise, we'll never build ourselves up.
I'm not even talking about black people in general. I'm talking about broke people. I mean, because that has nothing to do with color when it comes down to.
I don't know. Let's look at the demographics. I mean, we don't have the actual research here in front of us, but I would beg to differ that maybe, if you were to break down the welfare system and which race or what have you, group of people are number one as far as numbers using these things, I think it might lean a certain way. I'm not going to say which way it may lean, but I think it may lean a certain way.
We all know which way it's going to lean.
So with that being said,
but again, this is a long conversation.
It's on us to go into these communities and to, like I said, lead the horse to the water. Maybe some of them drink, maybe some of them don't. To the ones that don't, hey, fall by the wayside, and that's what it is. But to the ones that do, it's on us to educate, on how to get up out of it.
Got you. That's a good case right there. Again, I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. I just think that we're not doing it like we should. Like, I think that all these programs and government sponsored situations is not really reaching like it should. And I don't know what the disconnect is.
It's almost like you want a commercial or a billboard or something saying, hey, y'all in Section 8, this is how you get out. Here's how you get your house. You want it to be like somewhat easy like that.
Not that simple, but I would love to, if I can connect to all these people out here on Section 8 and have the ability to get them home ownership, I would do that. I would definitely do that.
That's where we differ. I wouldn't want all of them to have a home.
But of course you can't know every. Of course it's gonna be there. But that's gonna filter out all the bums, pretty much. It filters out the bums. You'll be able to connect with the ones who really want to do it, the ones who really are in that situation because of the way of the world, and then you'll be able to see the ones who they don't care, the ones who rather stay in the hood for $30 a month and live with roaches and hear gunfire every night, and they can be rich and still do that. That's a mentality. That's a mentality that I think that happens, especially if you below the poverty line. And I just think that the reason why I say it is because I swear, like you said, people feel like there's no way. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That cannot be the way it is. That can't. That's living in hell. You living in hell, you causing hell, and then you're gonna go to hell. So, I mean, come on now. I'm just basically, we got to cut this one. I mean, this is a deep topic. We didn't even get to the next discussion, which is the violence
we'll bring
in
it to
today's society. We're going to bring it to the next one. I'd like to thank you guys for listening to another podcast. Again, we're going to have all these things professionally done as to where you'll be able to watch every single last podcast, get your opinions out. We'll have it interactive very soon. Again, this is the Nah and Big Will Show. Let's go.
Peace.
See you soon.